that Julian's, please change the slide, that this works, so yay. As I had mentioned before, and as Julian had mentioned, this is an application that involves 25 acres of land. The Doral Corporate Center, the Citibank property, is on the eastern side of the property that we're talking about. This is south of 36th Street, Doral Boulevard, and on the west side of 87th Avenue. The Teva Pharmaceutical property, which is the one that's the subject of the land use plan amendment and the zoning amendment, is located on the west side of the property. The property is bisected by a canal that you're familiar with, and on the southern side of the property is a canal. South of this property is the Miami Herald offices and manufacturing facility, and and also the Baptist Hospital warehouse that's going down there, as well as a hotel and several other things that are on the south side of the canal. This is a property that, as you drive by, you'll notice that it's full of trees. Because, as we'll talk about through the discussion, we're doing some traffic improvements that are actually going to make things better. And by connecting these properties and allowing them to escape without hitting that horrible intersection, the net level of service, the things are going to be improving. It's not going to be perfect, but we are actually improving during the AM peak hour for traffic at the intersection of 87th and 36th Street, with the commitments that we're making in terms of traffic improvements to actually meet your level of service. It exists today at a failing level of service in the AM, and we're gonna actually get it up to a level of service D.
Name and address for the record. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you again. Yes, to see you. Our firm has been working with Heinz over 20 years.
Bernardo, name and address for the
Bernardo Forbrescia, Principal of Architectonica, 2900 Oak Avenue, Miami, Florida. Yeah. Okay, perfect. It's been over 20 years that we've been working with Heinz, and we work with them all over the world. We do projects for them, not just in the United States, and including the West Coast of the United States, but across South America and Brazil and China and Europe.
Thank you, Mayor.
name and address for the record, please.
Michael Wormuth. I'm here on behalf of the Doral Community Coalition. My address is 11290 Northwest 64th Terrace, Doral, Florida 33178. With respect to this item, the concern of the Community Coalition, the Doral Community Coalition, essentially is methodology. The coalition, more than anything, is interested in maintaining the quality of life in Doral and the vision of the city. And
Eric, can you please speak into the microphone? Closer. Thank you.
The main concern of the Doral Coalition is maintaining the quality of life in Doral and the vision that the city's had and set forth in the comprehensive plan. To amend the plan in and of itself should require some sort of methodology. I mean, what's been done to make sure that the amendment that's being requested, how will that impact, not just if it's done on this particular parcel, but which would be somewhat piecemeal. I mean, the plan in and of itself is set forth different areas under different designations. I'm assuming that if this particular parcel is subject to whatever designation and they're asking for an amendment that would change that somehow under the plan documents, then what's to keep someone right down Northwest 36th or Doral Boulevard just further to the west to ask for the same sort of amendment or same sort of treatment? Or even to the south, for example, I understand there's a community called Concepto that's being promoted that would be just south of Southcom on 33rd Street. Now, we're not suggesting at this point whether or not Heinz is overreaching or if they're being unreasonable. That's not the point. The question is, if the plan that in and of itself took years to put together and be approved and required community input, for example. I was reading it last night. It's in the introduction. It says that the comprehensive plan for the city of Doral has been prepared in accordance with state requirements to encourage significant opportunities for the public involvement throughout the process. What's been the public's involvement in amending? I'm sure that with the same rigor that the plan was implemented, if there's going to be an amendment, there should be the same process? Has there been any significant opportunities for the Doral residents putting input into this? From what I understand, there hasn't. I mean, this is the presentation. In the case of the plan, the opportunities for the public input were 2 city council visioning workshops with public attendance and 5 citizen workshops held to develop a consensus. Again, we're talking about a particular parcel for the Doral Gateway, but there's a need to take into account that they're not going to be the last person asking for this sort of a change or amendment. So it should be looked at the whole area that could encompass this sort of a change and how that would impact not just today, but even the residents. Even there's 500 people moving into that area, how is their quality of life going to be in that area? That we already know about the traffic problems. But
Thank you so much for the input, Mr. Warner. At this point, is anybody else wants to talk at this point from the public? Yes.
1 minute, less than a minute.
I will encourage you to fill up these documents. You can come and pass after Mr. Oh, okay.
Well, so they're not, there's, others aren't.
Okay, is Joseph Gorstein? That's you. And Jelly Howie? That's you? Okay, please name and address for the record. I think also...
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council, and members of the staff. My name is Jerry Howie, and I live in Doral Colony, part of Doral Estates, 5070 Northwest 93rd Place. I've been a resident of Doral for 25 years now. Mr. Pasadisa, how are you, sir? I've known several people up here, Mr. Pasadisa, when we were trying to become a corporation long before we became a corporation. And Sandra, how are you? This is a highly qualified group of people here who are recommending this gateway situation. It is looks like a fine property. Unfortunately, it's in the worst location in the world. If you're going to have a heart attack, you block your aorta. If you want to block your aorta, you're going to block 36th Street between 97th and 72nd Avenue. And this is what you're going to do. 550 new units in the most densely traffic-prone area in Doral. You're going to add 550 more, and that's just people's apartments, forgetting about the people who work there. You're not going to improve it by having a bridge inside this complex. The bridge is nice for inside the complex. It has nothing to do with your aorta, where you're going to have your heart attack. Nothing to do with it whatsoever. I'll give you a couple of examples. Friday night we go out for dinner. To take my house on 93rd Court, across from the firehouse, it took 42 minutes to get to 72nd Avenue, 93rd to 72nd, 42 minutes. That's not unusual, so we don't even go there anymore. To get to Longhorn Steakhouse, 13th Street and 87th Avenue from my house, 25 to 35 minutes. A mile and a half. And we're talking about reducing carbon? No, sir. You're increasing carbon. Increasing carbon because the carbon already exists, and the additional 550 people who are living there and the people who are going to try to get out are going to increase your carbon because they cannot move. This traffic is a total standstill. This is a great project somewhere else. It's a beautiful project. However, you can't, now you're going to have a traffic light on the west side of this parcel here, 200 yards from 87th Avenue. No traffic controller, no policeman would ever want to have traffic lights that close together. No one would. They've said that many times. They used to like to have it several lengths further than that. Is that for me or you?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. You are going to now have people who are trying to exit this thing at 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock or 6 o'clock or even 7 o'clock. Trying to make a right-hand turn, they may get out. The people who are in Citibank right now have a hard time getting out at 6 o'clock up to 6:30. They can't get out of their own building. Now you're adding 550 more units plus workers. To make a left-hand turn to go west on Doral Boulevard, virtually impossible because Doral Boulevard is already backed up to 97th Avenue. Who's going to let them in? One traffic light? How long is that going to be on? 10 seconds? 15 seconds? 5 cars? 8 cars? Max? You still got 40, 50, 50, 75 other cars behind it waiting to get out. This is a disaster in the making, and the aorta is going to be blocked up, and it's the heart of this system. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
And place motion after we take this vote, but I think that that's something that we need to consider as a body because of the amount of construction and development that's happening in our city. I think it's important for this body to be able to see site plans coming before us again. Although I have 100% confidence behind our staff, I think that it's part of our duties to make sure that things are coming that are being done in our city are being done in a way where it's congruent, and that we are aware of what's being developed. Sometimes we forget what comes before us. A year later, we start to see a building go up and we say, well, what's that? And we forget because they came before us because it doesn't come before us for site plan approval. So I'll go ahead after.
Thank you, Vice Mayor, for bringing that up to our council. But at this point, I want to give the floor to the councilwoman.
No, I'll pass, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Again, this is nothing against the project. I really hope that in second reading we can see some of the changes that the Vice Mayor and that Councilwoman Rodriguez Aguilera stated. Hopefully, by second reading, I'll be able to support it. Again, I have the utmost respect for the entire team that's here. It's just a matter of, when people have issues with projects and the issues need to be addressed, I think we need to take a look at that and hopefully they'll be addressed by the next reading. So
Thank you, Councilwoman Ana Maria Rodriguez. Councilwoman Bettino, you wanted to speak? No. Okay, at this point, I would like
Mayor,
to...
just one last thing, sorry. Can we get a copy of the plan of the book?
The pattern?
The pattern book?
Certainly.
Where is it?
I have it on my email.
You should have it
There's a
as
smaller
part of your
version in your
package.
package, but
Hey, I'm sorry.
Well, we can get you a larger
When
one.
I started, I didn't wear glasses, and I'm old-fashioned. I love the... No, you can... I don't want to take yours, Director. Just... Okay. And my recommendation would be if maybe this could actually... It's online, right? I mean, the package is online, and the public can see it. So they can actually go to the website and review it. Okay.
Thank you. At this point, I would like to call the question, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Mayor and council members, this is motion to recommend for consideration sitting as the local planning agency and motion to approve ordinance number 2014-13 on first reading sitting as the city council, excluding the master development agreement made by Councilwoman Ruiz and seconded by Vice Mayor Fraga. Councilwoman Ruiz?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fraga?
Yes.
Councilwoman Rodriguez?
no.
Councilwoman Rodriguez Aguilera?
No.
Mayor Boria?
Yes.
Mayor, the motion passes.
thank you.
At